State of Colorado and I are ordering temporary suspension of dine-in services at restaurants and bars.
It's been just, what can I say, roughest year of my life.
The lockdowns that saved some lives nearly ruined others.
It sucked more than words can describe.
And the restaurant industry felt it more than anyone.
Geez, what a roller coaster. A lot more downs than ups.
It was scary. We didn't know if our bakery was going to survive or not.
The restaurant industry, it's been devastating, brutal. 30% of us have closed.
It's hard, right?
Survival. Just do what we had to do.
The restaurants left standing are ready to rebound from an impossible year.
I think we're all very lucky, and nobody doubts that for a second.
With prayers.
We put a plea out on Facebook to please keep us here.
Resiliency.
We put all of our personal cell numbers on the website.
And lessons learned at rock bottom.
How do you keep moving forward until that point? I don't know, something happened in June where things just kind of skyrocketed upwards for us, and we were even doing better than pre-pandemic.
These restaurant owners have a simple message. We are open. When the restaurants and bars closed in spring of 2020, Coors Field closed too. No crack of the bat, no roar of the crowd, no cold beer, no Rockies dog in the fourth inning. 3 million fans visit Coors Field in an average year. In 2020, 0. The results were devastating. 30% of Colorado's restaurants closed within 3 months of the governor's shutdown order in March 2020. Those restrictions never fully went away. They loosened up during the summer when fewer COVID cases were reported, then tightened right back up in the fall and winter when Colorado's hospitals became dangerously close to full. Today, a year after the first cases were reported, most surviving restaurants are allowed to open at 50% capacity.
Oh, geez, the goalposts are constantly changing. Very frustrating.
That is Chris Fuselier, owner of Blake Street Tavern, one of the most well-known bars in downtown Denver, and he has seen it all.
My GM's been with me 21 years. My assistant general manager's been with me 15 years. My events manager, 10 years. I feel like I'm a dad to a lot of people, and people are counting on me, and that's what's really kept me together.
He's also felt the pressure of the pandemic every step of the way. Fuselier first spoke to us in March 2020, the night before the lockdowns went into effect.
We laid off 15 yesterday. We laid off another 70 today.
And again in July, when new mask mandates allowed him to reopen at limited capacities.
Oh, I did some jumping jacks. I was like, hey, about time, Governor. This is awesome.
Today, his bar remains open, but Fuselier isn't sure when the foot traffic will come back or when he'll be able to bring his staff back on board.
Why would anyone come downtown? Why would any non-downtown person come downtown now? There's no sports, there's no culture, there's no arts. It's a ghost town downtown, quite frankly. It's really sad.
It's been rough across the board. The number of restaurant trips in Denver down 52% from 2019 to 2020. Statewide, 94,000 jobs were lost. And while downtown Denver felt the brunt of the impact, everyone was hit hard.
We have a huge loyal following.
It's the neighborhood cafe.
I appreciate you.
Serving up a little soul food with a side of,
Like, pick it up, let's go.
Fatima Dickerson
I have to change my shoes every 3 hours.
has certainly seen this place through many ups and downs.
My family started the business in 85, 86. We've been Welton Street Cafe since July of 99.
This past year was perhaps
It's a fight.
one of their most challenging.
When you have COVID come in, you're like, nobody's walking down the street. Like, what's going on? I think this is still an emotional conversation for me, saving your Black business during a pandemic.
And yet, somehow, Fatima, her family, and the staff have managed to keep the lights on, the kitchen rolling, and the doors open.
My job is to feed people, and that is it.
An attitude of survival
You've been doing okay?
at a crucial moment in time.
One of the hardest things about being a black business in general is finding help. You gotta be good at it.
Those early days of the pandemic had an even greater impact on Black, Asian, and Latino business owners. The overall number of business owners dropped by 22%. Compare that to white business owners, which dropped 17%. Losses among Asian, Latino, and Black business owners were substantially higher.
It's kind of like a survivor guilt kind of thing.
Hi, what can I get you today?
Third Culture Bakery in Aurora is beating the odds.
We've been fortunate in that business structure has always been kind of a grab and go.
Anything else?
They credit their success to their signature mochi muffin. Owner Sam Booter created the recipe a few years ago, and it has exploded in popularity on social media.
It's our muffin topped with sesame seeds. It's just kind of like, as I mentioned before, crunchy on the outside, soft, chewy center. It is the one recipe that we started the entire bakery on.
Those muffins drew huge crowds when Third Culture opened in February 2020.
We've had days where, we had lines out the door.
Sadly, those crowds then vanished when shutdown orders went into effect.
During the shutdown and during the first 2 months of the lockdown, my gosh, I thought I was going to lose everything that we had been building for the last 3 years.
At a desperate moment, the couple behind Third Culture Bakery chose to innovate yet again.
In the early days of the pandemic, we had to kind of close for a couple of weeks just to kind of reassess, re-strategize. So we kind of re-engineered the recipe a little bit so that A, it travels well, and then B, there's ways that people can kind of reheat it at home to recreate that fresh out of the oven experience.
The nationwide shipping business buoyed Third Culture during the earliest part of the pandemic. Then in June, business soared. Now, Third Culture draws a line out the door on most weekends.
To be honest, my mind's just still blown. Like a lot of our regular customers have folded us into their weekly routine, so it's been great, seeing like the mother-daughter duo come in every Friday.
Sam and Wenter are planning an expansion to downtown Denver, in part because of a small tweak at the perfect time, and because they stayed true to themselves.
Being a queer bakery, especially in this current political climate, we have no choice but to be who we are and be kind of loud and proud about it. And we're just kind of trying to do things a little differently.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming up, the pandemic led to a boom in the delivery industry. DoorDash and Grubhub are making bank, but restaurants say it's killing them.
A lot of people say they just stop using them completely.
Northern Colorado launched its own app to keep the money local, while a Wheat Ridge restaurant is giving out family cell phone numbers for house calls.
Valentine's Day, we delivered bottles of wine and roses.
We'll have those stories next. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. So when restaurants needed a way to survive the pandemic, the recent invention of several delivery apps gave them a lifeline. In less than an hour, pizza, burgers, any other cuisine can be at your door. But the increase in delivery drivers doesn't come without a cost. In the case of DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, you might say they are double dipping. Restaurants get charged a fee to use the platform. So do you when you order takeout.
A lot of people with other services, it actually costs them money to get their food out the door to customers. And the delivery services are making 30-40% on top of other fees that are charged.
I just think a different model is going to emerge. For them to kind of nickel and dime people to death during this economic crisis when people are suffering and restaurants are suffering just seemed really kind of petty to me.
The city of Denver implemented a cap on delivery fees to try to slow the delivery apps down. DoorDash responded with a new fee. It's called the Denver fee.
I think they're trying to make the city look bad.
And let's face it, the cap on fees couldn't slow these companies down. Grubhub brought in $500 million in revenue in the last 3 months alone of 2020, and DoorDash, which has only been in business for 8 years, is now valued at almost $32 billion.
How are you doing today?
If you look on a delivery app, you can find Grammies Goodies in Wheat Ridge. But Grammy, real name Vicky Corder, would prefer it if you call her directly.
45 minutes, all right? Thanks for your support. Bye-bye.
Grammies Goodies is known for its desserts, pizza, and giant ravioli. Vicky, her husband Jeff, and their kids own the place. All of them take calls on their personal cell phones.
45,
All of them make deliveries themselves. We rode with Jeff as he delivered one meal in a snowstorm, in shorts.
Business is business, so we're willing to do whatever we have to do to make it work.
They've weathered the pandemic in part because of their loyal fan base.
We're here to go, honey.
We have one customer that, when this pandemic started, they had a 3-week-old baby, and I'm still delivering to her, and she's walking now.
But also because of the long hours worked by every member of the family.
We scrambled from the jump. What can we do? What can we do to keep it going? If this failed, a lot of people depend on this. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye.
Most restaurant owners cannot keep up with the Corder family. That's why communities have looked at other ways to reduce the cost of delivery. In Fort Collins, restaurants turned to Nosh, a locally owned app that charges half as much as the DoorDashes of the world. The city liked the app so much they decided to cover fees for several months during the pandemic.
We are not charging the restaurants anything, and anything that we would normally charge them, the city is going to go ahead and foot the bill and reimburse us for it.
The community rallies behind the small businesses, especially the small restaurants.
Ashley Zeruto bought the Waffle Lab in Fort Collins last June.
People have been coming out in droves, more than we really thought.
Waffle Lab is planning a second location later this year, and they've been able to take advantage of the reduced fees on the NOCO Nosh app.
It doesn't sound like a lot when you're thinking about it, but being able to cut 15% of commission going out the door is huge for us. Every little piece, literally every penny counts for us at this point.
Waffle Lab is on DoorDash and Grubhub.
Sometimes literally it costs us money.
But Zeruto tells us she knows those apps are not an ideal option.
There's a giant Reddit thread just about delivery services and restaurant owners, and a lot of people say they just stop using them completely.
Delivery, unfortunately, doesn't work for everyone. Just ask those in the fine dining industry.
A lot of times people don't associate my restaurants and my food with takeout.
Lon Simmonsma is the founder of Cholon Restaurant Concepts. Right on the website, it reads, amazing meals and great ambiance.
You used to just sit here and watch a seas of people. There was never a break in just the flow of people at any given time. And now it's sporadic. It's just, instead of talking to guests and engaging with, hey, how's your dinner? A lot of times I just kind of awkwardly wave from afar, and I do a lot of thumbs ups and things like that to interact with the guests, which is something that I miss.
People are returning to restaurants, but shrinking budgets during the pandemic have many families redirecting their dollars toward casual and fast casual restaurants away from fine dining. That change has forced Simmonsma to make some difficult decisions.
We've had about 170 people before we closed, and I think we're back to 60 now, so we still only have about 1/3 of our entire staff.
Simmonsma says he's treading water right now, but he's expecting to ride a wave of customers once everyone is vaccinated and looking for a night out.
I have nothing but just, a great desire to have everything be back to normal and to see this restaurant have its biggest profit that it's ever seen before.
Many restaurants looking for extra revenue chose to expand outdoor dining this year. Some had patios already in place. Others pitched huge tents like this or built yurts. But the weather didn't always play ball. Valentine's Day, for example, usually one of the busiest in the restaurant industry, came up short when temperatures dropped well below zero.
We just had brunch, so that was great. It's freezing, so.
Did you guys have brunch indoors or outside?
Indoors,
okay.
Indoors.
Would you guys have even considered sitting out here?
No.
Only been in the area for 18 months, but immediately could tell what a great part of this neighborhood Local 46 was.
North Denver's Local 46 is one bar that did not make it to winter.
It sucked more than words can describe.
The owner, Nia Gingrich, spent nearly a decade in business, but ultimately decided to cut her losses instead of trying to survive the coldest part of the year.
It just doesn't make sense to try and get through the winter.
I was definitely shocked.
Irene Bacchus worked at Local 46 for years.
So this place is it's a special space.
Since the closure, Bacchus has been on unemployment and worked another job, but soon she'll be able to go back to that special place, as Local 46 is making a comeback.
So we're going to reopen Local 46 in April, and we're going to be there for a short-term lease just through the summer.
And once that lease is up, they will move on to a new venture with a very similar name.
Hopefully we'll be able to close Local 46 and transition right into our new space, Local 38.
For Bacchus, it's more than a job.
I've been here since I was 18.
The new location, Local 38, will keep her bar family together.
This place is pretty special to you.
It's very special to me.
Just one bill? Yeah, for sure. Be right back.
For those in the restaurant business,
We have an amazing team here.
innovation and creativity is the key to survival right now.
COVID kind of put us in a weird situation and we had to get creative.
Something that sort of comes naturally to Scott Spears.
Pretty much anything you can think of, we've tried.
After all, he started a bar in a school.
It is. It's the original schoolhouse in Arvada. It was built 1886 and it was a one-room schoolhouse.
And what school wouldn't be complete without a bus?
The wheels on the bus go round and round.
With the limited capacity and really with the 6-foot spacing, we were just trying to figure out how we can get some more seats in.
After reconfiguring some seating and running power out from the old schoolhouse to the bus,
We were just like walking down the street and we're like, school bus, really random. And then we walked around and we're like, oh my gosh, you can like sit inside.
this bus is now the place to be.
We love being in the bus.
I feel super educated. We've never thought we were going to be drinking alcohol in a school bus.
We start it once a month to make sure it's still functional.
Like so many other cities, Arvada shut down some streets in Old Town, allowing businesses like Schoolhouse Kitchen and Libations
Y'all still doing it right over here?
to expand their outdoor space, in this case, with bus seating.
The city of Arvada has been awesome to work with, and they're all for everyone being creative. We did have to talk to the fire department to make sure that we had the clearances.
So hop on. After all, you wouldn't want to miss the bus. When we come back, the owners of Pandemic Donuts share their success story. It starts with Instagram-worthy donuts.
Basically just woke up one morning and Michael was like, I made us an Instagram. We have orders coming in already.
And the closed sign has hung on the door of Casa Bonita for months. Will the Cliff Divers and Sopapillas return after the pandemic? We are hunting for the answer next.
It's just chocolate sprinkle and maple nut basics.
Still cranking out the classics and adding their own twists.
So we do 6 flavors a day, which is fun.
Gabe Henning and Michael Milton are making more donuts than ever before. They started Pandemic Donuts last spring after they lost their jobs in the service industry due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think we've been really lucky that our business through the spring was strong enough to get the bakery open.
When we met them, they were frying up donuts in their tiny kitchen and delivering them to Denver doorsteps during the stay-at-home order. They're still waking up before dawn, so we checked in as the sun came up over their new space.
Out of our house, we were doing anywhere from 300 to 500 donuts a day, and now we can do anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pretty easily. On the weekends, we're pushing up at that 1,000 mark.
Their new bakery is located inside Queen City Collective Coffee in Denver's 5 Points neighborhood. Having their very own bakery still seems like a dream come true. Gabe says if you told her a year ago she would be running her own donut shop, she would have had a hard time imagining it.
Oh my gosh, I would not have believed them. I really didn't think I could ever have this, you know, because it's something I've always wanted in my own bakery.
This commercial kitchen is really a game changer, allowing them to bring in more business opportunities. Pandemic Donuts is still doing curbside pickup and delivery. Of course, you can find their donuts at Queen City, but the owners are also exploring wholesale opportunities.
It opens up all types of doors that we're closed, working out of a home kitchen under the Cottage Food Act, you can't do wholesale. You can't do a lot of stuff, really.
Pandemic Donuts only seems to be growing. Although their business is more than donuts now, they're venturing into the savory side of breakfast with new sandwiches too.
The truth is, the community supported us so much that we were able to do it.
A business that took off almost overnight thanks to social media.
And we just started making donuts, selling them.
And loyal customers who keep coming back for these eye-catching, mouth-watering donuts.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier. It's a blessing. Yeah, we're happy.
When we return, we'll end any doubt of the future of Casa Bonita, a uniquely Colorado icon.
Oh, awesome! That was cool, huh?
Alcohol to go did not exist in Colorado pre-pandemic, but it's become one of the lone bright spots from a difficult time. 93% of restaurants reported making some revenue off to-go alcohol in 2020.
We're seeing restaurants be creative with some fun cocktail pairings with, some of your favorite dishes that you normally would not be able to take advantage of at home.
Before we leave you, we want to give you an update on Casa Bonita. The iconic Colorado restaurant has been around for a half century. They've hosted draft parties, album release parties, and countless fans of the cartoon South Park. But Casa Bonita chose not to offer takeout when dining rooms were closed in March 2020. Their doors have not opened since, but they will survive. Here's what owner Bob Wheaton had to tell us about that.
Our plan is to reopen the business as soon as it's legally possible.
By and large, Colorado restaurant owners believe the worst is over. They will rebound. Their business may not be the same. Some of them have become owners, drivers. Others have capitalized on a new market. But all of them continue to get by with the same work ethic they've relied on all along.
So everything is back to the way that it should be, and people feel comfortable to go out. People that have survived the storm and have made it on the other side of this, that are still pushing hard to cook good food and raising the bar around Denver, I think we're just going to see some great benefits to their year of discomfort.